Family and friends of two murder victims are baffled. The community is perplexed after surveillance video surfaces in Independence that is missing a critical piece of evidence.
So here's what we know. In that video, you can hear shots fired in the woods. However, what's missing is the final shot where the murderer kills himself. Local 12's David Winter is at that apartment complex where the shootings began 3 weeks ago to answer the question, how could hundreds of people, including police, not hear a gunshot on a still night in the woods? David.
Kyle, it's a question that becomes painfully obvious when you hear and see that video in just a moment. Police came to this apartment complex, the Taylor Ridge Apartments, on September 21st. They had a report of a man who had been killed by another man by gun, and he was in this parking lot. Witnesses say he then came through this fence and went into these woods with a hostage.
A shot rings out in the forest, alerting police Donald Bryant is likely in the woods with Heaven Glisson, his ex-fiancée. He had already killed her friend Dalen Bradford 2 hours earlier.
We heard the first one, and then a succession of other ones. I seeked cover, and then after the shooting stopped, I went and put my bulletproof vest on.
So at that point, what were you thinking?
That we have a very active scene.
Detective Eric Higgins was there that night. He says 5 bullets from the last volley of shots found Heaven Glisson. They would find her body 90 minutes later lying next to the man who shot her, Donald Bryant. But here's where the story gets confusing. When police found Bryant, he had already shot himself in the head. But even though there were hundreds of residents and police close by when that final shot was fired, no one apparently heard it.
We don't hear that last suicide shot. How can you explain it?
I mean, while I was close to scene, we were still probably about a football and a half field away. So that could be, and there was, houses and apartments and the trees around. That could be one explanation.
You're telling me that the people were as far away as 100 yards. That's a far distance. Even on a still night with no other ambient noise, that the noise of that final gunshot could well have been suppressed.
Forensic criminologist Ron Martinelli says aside from distance, many people use subsonic rounds, which don't break the sound barrier and don't make that crack sound. And how Bryant held the 9mm Ruger also could have been a factor.
When the bullet comes out of the gun, everything that follows that bullet is what creates the noise that you hear. If the gun is pressed tightly to the skull, and then the trigger's depressed, then all that gas is forced, not only the bullet, but obviously the gas is all forced into the skull structure.
And muffled the sound to the point that it could have sounded like a twig snapping.
There's plenty of that going around in these woods with all of the people and the dogs that were running through here looking for Heaven Glisson to try and save her. It's really the only explanation that makes sense, as police say there are no other people who could have been involved in this horrible tragedy. Back to you in the studio, Kyle.
All right, David Winter reporting live for us tonight from Independence. And police say the man who unknowingly gave Bryant the murder weapon after being told it would be used on a raccoon problem says he no longer wants that gun. Kentucky State Police will now take it to Frankfort to be destroyed.